this year, but they are doing a drive and wave. All right. So we're getting Tina from American Cancer Society on to talk about that at 9:30. Um, also, I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. It's because we keep talking about this return to normalcy. Well, I also got booked to give away a couple cars. So that was pretty cool. But it was I know I was like, oh wow, and I was emailing like, hey, I'm fully vaccinated too, and they were like, oh, that's virtual. It's virtual, but anyway, I got to start adding $10 to my hosting fee because I'm fully vaccinated, Jay. Oh yeah,
Ever the capitalist.
you know. Hey, let's head into the KUM News Zoom Room 853. The permitting czar, but more importantly, he's wearing his GVB CEO hat. Former Governor Carl Gutierrez, and he's joined here by the Director of Taiwan Marketing for GVB, Gabby Frunkes. Good morning, Gov. We're on, Gov.
Okay.
Hi, Gabby. Good morning. Gov, we'll just go ahead and get right into it because there's, I know your time's valuable, but we wanted to kind of start with AirV&V. I know that you had said that you were retooling the package cost after some potential AirV&V customers kind of balked at the cost. So where are we with that, and where are we with the full implementation of the AirV&V?
We're of course we're evaluating now the cost of the actual vaccination and testing and monitoring, and because we feel that there's going to be a downgrading of the protocol, which is good for us. There might not be a requirement for as many tests, to pay, and also the monitoring of the SARA alert is not really necessary, as the GRMC and AMC have said, because they do their own monitoring from within even the hotel. So anybody not feeling well this is a confined group. It's not like they're roaming around all over the island. So we don't need to pay $75 for that. And I don't think the monitoring is that well anyway. But it's better to just do it through the clinic that has provided the vaccination and the test to do their own monitoring. So that could go down from $880 initially from the present protocol down to about maybe $450.
Wow. And you think that's a deal maker?
Oh, absolutely. And it might still even go down a little bit more. But already the first flight coming in from Taipei is on July 6th, and then the 10th, and then the 14th, and then the 18th. And what it is that they really latched onto this program in Taiwan, downplaying the vaccination part, but because the government doesn't kind of frowns on that, making the tour for medical reasons. But they'll be here, and the two main travel agencies in Taiwan, namely Lion Travel and Tours, and you've got Phoenix. Phoenix was the first one that put together their flight, but because of the Indian Delta virus returning protocol for these citizens, it kind of scared away some people to leave Taiwan and then come back and be told to stay in a quarantine hotel for 14 days. And so they teamed up right now to not compete with each other. And that's what I heard. And then they'll just split 50-50. So it looks good. And one of them, Lion, is going to setting up office here where they haven't ever in the past. And so that really gives a boost to our source country in Taiwan to be giving us a lot more than the highest numbers in 2019 of 28,000.
Yeah. Gov, so I guess since we have Gabby here, we can kind of just go into where we are with that Taiwan market. But then also, could we just go over the Korean and Japan markets as well after that? Gabby, good morning.
Morning. Yeah, so we're excited to welcome, the Taiwanese market back to Guam. Like Gov mentioned, we have a few charter flights, scheduled. So we hope that'll start, boosting our visitor arrivals here on Guam. But, there is the concern of the cost being too high. And, with that high cost now, because when these Taiwanese visitors return back to Taiwan, they have to engage in a 14-day quarantine, self-paid. Before the Delta virus was a big issue in market, they could just home quarantine for 14 days. But now it's actually, it has to be at a government facility in Taiwan, self-paid. So with that additional cost on top of travel costs, the 880 costs, we've seen a lot of cancellations in the bookings with the charter flights, but we hope, to help, the process along by having this decreased price of the 880 and then, help our Taiwanese visitors.
What's the cost when they go back to Taiwan and they got to self-pay quarantine?
Yeah, looking at about $1,000.
Yeah, 1,000 to 1,500.
But I think we're going to get over that. I believe we're going to get over that. We also have, now we're working with Korea, and Korea is going to be the first one in on vaccinated tourists, not coming here to get vaccination, but are vaccinated tourists. And today we're going to try to finalize the memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Infrastructure, Land, and Transportation, which is trying to work with us to set up incentives for those first initial travelers to help pay for their PCR test on the way back. And so far, there's only 3 that they have really picked to send tourists out from Korea, and that's Singapore, Saipan, and Guam. Saipan is there now. The governor is there now, signing that MOU with them. Unfortunately, we're not there. We have a different protocol from the Northern Marianas, so they're easily to go there. But once that starts, I know that August 5th, I believe, would be the first flight of Korean Airlines out here. We're trying to move that up to maybe the last week of July. But once we sign that incentive and MOU with the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, and Transportation, then we are going to be hopefully moving forward even in front of Singapore.
Gov, Japan market?
Japan market is a little bit more iffier, but we are watching the vaccination rates going up right now, which is very good. And that's we're waiting to get over this Olympic miasma hanging over the entire Japan situation. So once that's done, I think Japan is ready to start talking about sending their tourists out.
What about the Russians? Have we engaged the Russians? Because, at this point, we'll take anybody. But just as long as they're not, seeking asylum. We want the legit Russians.
Unfortunately, because of those seeking asylum, Russians have been taken off that temporary visa waiver. Oh. So they're not there for us to market to. But we're watching the surf coming in to see if any of them are swimming in.
Hey, that counts as an arrival, Gov. That counts as an arrival. Yeah.
Counts as an arrival.
Gov, let me ask you.
When I was governor and we were counting all those Chinese coming over from Rome.
Yeah.
Crashing at the Rocky Beach.
Correct. Gov, I want to ask, because you mentioned the CNMI and how their protocols, obviously they fared a lot better, given their status and what they were able to do. But what's that conversation like when you go back to Governor Liu and you say, hey, over the NMI, they're kind of beating us? Because it's got to be frustrating. And we keep moving the goalposts, but it's really only because of the virus and the COVID.
Unfortunately, I don't have that conversation with her. So sometimes we have to use intermediaries to do that. But I'm just waiting. It's best to just wait and wait to see what comes out of Adelup. She's got her own medical advisors and her public health advisors, and she doesn't need us from the side looking at our own interest here, opening up GVB, tourism economy, because she's got something bigger than this to deal with, and I don't envy her making that decision.
Oh, wow.
But we just wait, and when she says go, we go. But we're all prepared, and we've been putting everything in place. And when she says go, man, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be, opening the floodgate.
You're going to peel out when she says go, huh? Gov, what about the $20 million American Rescue Plan funding? Have you guys got that yet, or is it still locked up
No, that's still in the tug of war with the legislature. I don't know. The governor has total control of that. I know. I was there, and all those kind of monies that come here, especially even with grants, it's the governor of Guam that has control of that. And you know, the legislature back then, when I was governor, tried to insinuate themselves into saying, "Let us be the one to tell you where." It doesn't work that way. So ultimately, the governor will make that decision, and once she placates the legislative process, I think that come the next month or so, they'll give us our 20 million.
So right now, as it stands, Gov, I mean, it sounds like there's definitely a lot of moving parts, but does the Visitors Bureau have the funding for all these things that are happening right now?
Well, yes, of course, we've had, you know, with the commission some of the projects that hadn't moved forward over the last year and a half, and we have made do with the our budget that came down from $23 million to only $6 million now that we're dealing with, but we're making do, and we are, you know, figuring out how to do it in house. We've got the most excellent professional staff here in our various source countries marketing, and we're doing that, and we've downgraded a lot of the contract amount of our representatives in Japan, Taiwan, and Korea and the Philippines. But that's another thing about the Philippines. Let me say that yesterday we were again on in a conference call with the Philippine Airlines, the top management, and they're really marketing Guam now to those that are Filipino citizens but have U.S. visas, those that are dual citizens, and the expats. And we've also hooked them up yesterday during our conference with a gentleman who is Filipino by birth, but he lives there and part of the Chamber of Commerce. He's organizing now with Philippine Airlines for Bangkok to fly from Bangkok to the Philippines to Guam with a 5-hour layover in the Philippines, you know, but just as a pit stop going back. So there's another part that we can bring back the expats. And interestingly, I'm sure that you're probably interested to hear this. I tried this I asked the gentleman, his name is Steph Sanyo, and to go to the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok and ask them to please be a little bit more lenient about issuing a U.S. visa to the Thailand people so they could fly on this vaccination so that we might be able to provide this humanitarian thing. And he says, no, not to worry. In Thailand, they approve 95% of those visa applications in the United States, unlike the Philippines. Wow. So there's a good source there now for even those Thailand people that have money to come to Guam.
All right, Gov. Anything in closing? How about the permitting czar thing? Are you still doing that?
We're doing it. We're trying to deal with SHPO, SHPO.
Oh yeah.
That's where now everything's zeroed in as the problematic area. They read the laws maybe a little bit more stringent, but the governor and the lieutenant governor have also now taken over the reins to make sure that these directors, every agency, read the rules and the laws as in one way, not everybody having their own interpretation. So once you get that thing done, I think it'll be much more smoother going forward.
Oh, Gov, just before I let you go, I wanted to ask about this Afghan refugee thing, because I think there was something that was mentioned in the national media. Just your thoughts, because I know GHRA hasn't really come out in support of it, but when we talk about reopening tourism and also this Afghan refugee issue, do you think that the territory can do both at the same time?
I believe so. I don't know. You know, they go from 18,000 people coming here to 100,000 people with their families. So certainly the State Department, for what I understand now, have stepped in to pay for the stay of if they do come here, for the hotels, because the military Department of Defense did not have the funds to do that. So they're working something out, and I just hope that maybe between us and the Northern Marianas, we might be able to share these, refugees coming in here for processing.
All right, Gov. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You're still the one.
Oh, you too. Thank you, Gabby. Wait, Gov, you told Jason you got your shirt in the PI?
At Divisoria.
When? Not recently.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Richard Arroyo bought this for
Oh,
me.
okay. Yeah, that looks like a Richard shirt.
He ordered it from Hawaii. I couldn't afford it, so he ordered it from
Okay.
for
We'll
Father's
see.
Day.
We'll see you, Gov.
Thank you.
Okay, Asta. Bye, Gabby. All right, GVB. We're getting Sergeant Paul Tapau, I believe. I sent him the link. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Oh, and then also
yeah,
9:30 scheduled. We have our friend Tina Noke. We haven't heard from Tina in a while, but you know what's coming up in this month, this part of the year, this part of the world. It's a island tradition, an institution. This